The sound of running water masked my footsteps as I approached our master bathroom. It was just past midnight, and I'd woken up thirsty. But what I heard through that door would leave me parched for months to come. He still thinks the baby's his. Freya's whisper, barely audible over the faucet, froze me in place. I can't wait to feel you again tonight. My name is Frank. And until that moment, I thought I had a perfect life. Funny how 12 words can shatter 5 years of marriage. I stood there, hand hovering over the doorknob, fighting every instinct to burst in and confront her. Instead, I backed away silently. Years of working in software consulting teaching me that the best code runs quietly in the background, gathering data before execution. Back in our bedroom, I picked up my sleeping daughter, Ella, from her crib. Her tiny fingers wrapped around my thumb as I studied her face in the moonlight. Everyone said she had my eyes, my smile. Now I wondered if they were just being polite. "Daddy's got you," I whispered, more to convince myself than comfort her. The next morning, Freya acted like nothing had happened. She made pancakes, humming while she flipped them with practiced ease. "You look tired," she said, sliding a plate in front of me. "Rough night," I forced a smile. "Just work stuff. Big project coming up." "Poor baby." She kissed my forehead. "Maybe we can have an early night tonight." "Tonight?" I took a bite of pancake that tasted like cardboard. "Don't you have that sales conference dinner?" "Oh." Her phone buzzed, and she snatched it up quickly. "Right, totally forgot. Might be late, actually. Leon's presenting. And you know how he goes on." Leon, her coworker, the one who always seemed to be wherever Freya was. "No problem," I said, watching her fingers dance across her phone screen. "I'll put Ella to bed." "You're the best." She beamed at me, and for a second, I saw the woman I fell in love with 5 years ago at Robert's New Year's party. The one who laughed at my terrible tech jokes and dreamed of building a family together. After she left for work, I called in sick and opened my laptop. My hands shook as I typed "home DNA testing kit" into the search bar. "What are you doing, Daddy?" I said softly to myself, clicking Express Delivery. That evening, I sat in Ella's nursery, watching her sleep. The room still smelled of fresh paint. I'd spent weeks getting it perfect. Building the crib myself. Painting clouds on the ceiling because Freya said they'd help our daughter dream big. My phone buzzed. A text from Freya. "Conference running late. Don't wait up." I opened our shared location app. The little dot showing her position wasn't at the conference center. It was at the Marriott across town. Ella stirred in her sleep, making those little noises that usually melted my heart. I touched her cheek gently, wondering how many other lies I'd been living with. "I promise you something," I whispered to my sleeping daughter. Or was she even mine? "Whatever happens next, I'll always protect you. But first, I need to know the truth." My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a shipping confirmation for the DNA kit. 3 to 5 business days. I looked down at Ella one last time before heading to bed. In the soft glow of her nightlight, I could almost convince myself that she had my nose, my chin. Almost. But almost isn't good enough when it comes to the truth. The DNA test kit arrived on a Tuesday, disguised as a tech gadget delivery. I waited until Freya left for her morning meeting before swabbing Ella's cheek while she giggled, thinking it was a game. "Just playing airplane with the cotton swab, princess," I said, fighting back tears as I sealed the sample. Over the next few days, I noticed things I'd been blind to before. Like how Freya always kept her phone face down, or how she'd step outside to take calls, claiming the reception was better in the garden. "You've been quiet lately," Robert said over lunch. My best friend since college had always been more perceptive than I gave him credit for. "Just tired. Work stuff." I pushed my sandwich around the plate. "Bull?" He leaned forward. "I've known you too long, Frank. What's really going on?" Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Freya. "Working late tonight. Don't forget to feed Ella at 6. Robert caught my expression. That's the third late night this week, isn't it? I nodded, then showed him my laptop screen. I'd managed to sync with Freya's cloud backup, a trick I'd learned from years of IT work. Messages filled the screen, all to someone saved as K. K. Miss you already, Freya. Last night was amazing. Hotel again next week? Freya. Can't wait. Same room. Jesus, Robert whispered. Do you know who Kay is? I think so. I pulled up a photo from Freya's work Christmas party. See the tall guy in the blue suit? That's Leon from her office. Everyone calls him by his middle name, Kian. The one who fixed her car last month? Yeah, the one I paid $800 to thank him for helping out. My phone pinged again. This time, it was the DNA lab. Your results are ready. Robert watched as I logged in with shaking hands. The page loaded slowly, each second an eternity. Then 3 numbers appeared that changed everything. 0.00% probability of paternity. 0%, I read aloud, my voice hollow. Frank, I'm so sorry. Robert reached across the table, but I was already standing. I need to see it for myself, I said, grabbing my keys. Need to know if I'm crazy. 20 minutes later, I parked outside the Hilton, where Freya was supposedly having her late meeting. Her car was there, parked next to a familiar blue BMW, Leon's car. I waited, camera ready on my phone. At 9:47 p.m., they emerged together. Freya checked her surroundings, but missed me in my darkened car. Then she kissed him, long and deep, right there in the parking lot. Click. The photo was perfect. Clear, undeniable evidence. I forwarded it to my secure email, then deleted it from my phone. Back home, Freya was already in bed when I arrived. How was your meeting? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Boring. Just quarterly reports. She didn't even look up from her phone. Ella was asking for you at bedtime. I walked to Ella's room, my heart breaking with each step. She lay there peaceful, innocent, clutching the stuffed elephant I'd bought the day we brought her home. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Robert. Whatever you need, I'm here. I typed back, I need to destroy them both. Then I deleted the message thread and crawled into bed beside my wife, listening to her pretend to sleep while she texted the man who'd helped her steal my life. Tomorrow, I decided, the real work would begin. I created a digital journal titled Project Genesis and started documenting everything. Dates, times, locations. Every detail mattered. The software developer in me needed structure, even in chaos. Jasmine, Freya's best friend, was my first target. I invited her for coffee, playing the role of the concerned husband perfectly. I'm worried about Freya, I said, stirring my Americano. She's been working such late hours. Jasmine shifted uncomfortably. You know how sales can be. Those pharma conferences? Yeah, like the one last Thursday at the Hilton? She froze mid-sip. Thursday? I thought it was Wednesday. My mistake, I smiled. You're right. Wednesday at the Hilton, Thursday at the Marriott. Right. Her eyes darted to her phone. Funny thing is, I called both hotels. No pharma conferences either night. Jasmine's face went pale. Frank, It's okay, I said softly. I just need to know how long. She broke down, confessing everything. How it started 2 years ago, how she'd covered for them, how she'd watched Ella while they met at hotels. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I told her to stop. Next came the listening device, a small bug I planted under Freya's car dashboard while installing her new phone charger. That evening, it captured gold. Frank's such an idiot. Leon's voice crackled through my headphones. Remember when he paid for my car repairs? Freya laughed. You should have seen his face when I told him how helpful you'd been. Speaking of helpful, that necklace looks gorgeous on you. It better. You spent enough on it. I photographed the necklace later that night while Freya slept. The one she'd told me was a $50 work anniversary gift. The next morning, I took Ella to the park. She squealed with delight as I pushed her on the swings, her little legs kicking at the air. "Higher, Daddy, higher!" My phone buzzed. A message from Leon to Freya, accidentally synced to our shared cloud. "She really does look like us, huh?" Attached was a photo of Ella from the company picnic last month. I downloaded it, adding it to my growing file. That evening, Robert came over with takeout and helped me organize the evidence. "Look at this," he said, pointing to bank statements. "Large withdrawals every month, always before their conferences." "Hotel rooms aren't cheap," I muttered. "No, but—" He pulled up more transactions. "These are from their joint account. Leon's been spending his wife's money on Freya." I sat back, stunned. His wife's money? Violet's been saving for IVF. They've been trying for years. A new plan formed in my mind. Find me everything you can about Violet. Later, while bathing Ella, Freya came in wearing the necklace. "Remember this?" She smiled. "Such a thoughtful work gift." I watched her reflection in the mirror as she adjusted the $3,000 pendant, paid for with another woman's dreams. "Very thoughtful," I agreed, wrapping Ella in a towel. "Hey, what do you think about having Leon and his wife over for dinner sometime?" Freya's hand slipped on the necklace. "Why would we do that?" "Just being friendly. You work together after all." I'll think about it." That night, I added one final entry to Project Genesis. Phase 2. Contact Violet. As I closed my laptop, a notification popped up. Another message from Leon to Freya. "Missing you already. Tomorrow lunch." I smiled and typed a quick email to Violet from an anonymous account. "Your husband is spending your IVF money on someone else. Proof attached." The pieces were finally starting to move. Meeting Violet felt like looking into a mirror of my own pain. We sat in a quiet coffee shop across town, far from any familiar faces. "I found the receipts," she said, sliding a folder across the table. The necklace, hotel rooms, even a weekend trip to Vegas, all from our IVF savings. I opened the folder, hands steady despite the rage building inside. "How long have you known?" "About the money?" 2 weeks. She wiped away a tear. "About the affair?" "Since your email." The waitress brought our coffees. We both stared at the steam rising, avoiding each other's eyes. 3 years of fertility treatments," Violet continued. "While he was—" She couldn't finish. "I have something to show you, too." I pulled out my phone, playing the car recording. Leon's voice filled our corner of the cafe. "Once Frank's out of the picture, we can stop sneaking around. Violet will leave once she finds out about the money anyway." Violet's coffee cup clattered against the saucer. "That bastard." "There's more." I hesitated, then showed her the DNA test results. "Oh, God," she whispered. "The baby isn't—" "No. But here's what I don't understand." I pulled up Freya's medical records. Robert's PI friend had come through. She had a miscarriage 3 years ago. At least, that's what she told me. Violet's eyes widened. 3 years ago? In March? "Yeah, why?" "Because Leon told me he had a business trip to Miami that month. Came back talking about some woman who lost his baby." My stomach lurched. "You think—" "Check the dates." I pulled up my timeline. Freya's miscarriage happened March 15th. Leon's Miami trip was March 12th to 16th. "Jesus," I muttered. "This isn't their first child together." Violet reached into her purse, hands shaking. "I found this in Leon's desk last night." She produced a black envelope. I was going to mail it anonymously, but inside was a photo of Freya and Leon in bed, clearly taken at the Hilton. I recognized the headboard. "Mail it," I said. "To her office. Let's see how she handles knowing someone's watching." "What's your plan?" Violet asked. Ella's first birthday party is in 3 weeks. Everyone will be there. Family, friends, co-workers, including Leon? Especially Leon. I showed her the invitation I'd already sent. Your husband's been so helpful at work, I insisted he come. Violet's smile turned cold. Need any help setting up? Actually, I pulled out another folder. I have some papers for you to sign first. Later that night, Freya was unusually quiet during dinner. The black envelope had done its job. Everything okay? I asked innocently. Fine. She pushed her food around. Just work stress. Anything I can help with? She looked at me then. Really looked at me, for the first time in weeks. No, she said softly. This is something I need to handle myself. After dinner, I checked my email. Violet had sent screenshots of her conversations with Leon about the miscarriage. My printer hummed quietly, adding more pages to Project Genesis. Ella started crying upstairs. As I walked to her room, Freya's phone buzzed on the counter. A message flashed across the screen. We need to lay low until after the party. Frank's acting weird. Elle. I picked up my daughter, holding her close as she settled. Just a few more weeks, I whispered. Then everyone will know the truth. My phone vibrated. A text from Robert. Found something big at the fertility clinic. You need to see this. The endgame was approaching faster than I'd planned. I ramped up the affection, playing the role of doting husband perfectly. Freya seemed both relieved and suspicious, especially when I suggested making Ella's first birthday party a grand affair. You want to host it in the backyard? She asked over breakfast. That's, different for you. Our little girl only turns one once. I kissed her cheek. I've already ordered the tent, catering, everything. Even a projector for photos? Her voice wavered slightly. Of course. Got to show off our perfect family, right? The PI I hired sent daily updates on Leon's movements. Photos of secret meetings, recordings of phone calls, bank statements showing more diverted funds. They're getting sloppy, Robert said, reviewing the footage. Look, broad daylight coffee dates now. They think they're safe until after the party. I pointed to a transcript. Leon's convinced I suspect nothing. About that, Robert shifted uncomfortably. I found something at the fertility clinic. A payment from Freya, dated just before she got pregnant. What kind of payment? Can't tell. Records are sealed. But I've requested access through my contact. Jasmine showed up unannounced that afternoon while Freya was at work. We need to talk, she said, pacing my living room. Something's wrong with Freya. She's paranoid, checking over her shoulder constantly. Really? I continued setting up the new sound system for the party. Haven't noticed. Frank. She stopped pacing. What did you do? Me? I smiled. I'm just planning a birthday party. This isn't you, the expensive catering, the elaborate setup. People change, Jasmine. Sometimes they're not who we thought they were. She left looking troubled. An hour later, my phone buzzed with texts from Freya. Jasmine's acting weird. Says you're planning something. Should I be worried? I replied. Just want our daughter's day to be special. The next morning, I met Violet at a diner outside town. She slid a USB drive across the table. Everything you asked for, she said. Bank statements, photos, even his private email password. How'd you get that? He uses the same password for everything. Our wedding date. She laughed bitterly. Ironic, right? Perfect timing. I showed her the party layout on my tablet. You'll sit here next to his boss. Front row view. And the slideshow starts with baby photos, ends with their hotel receipts. I've timed it down to the second. My phone chimed. A message from the fertility clinic. Records request approved. Available for pickup. I should get that now, I said, standing. Frank? Violet caught my arm. Make it hurt. Back home, Freya was trying to reach Leon. I watched her pace the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear. Why aren't you answering? She hissed into his voicemail. We need to talk about the party. Everything okay? I asked, making her jump. Fine, just, work stuff. Good. Because I invited Leon and his wife. Thought it'd be nice since you work so closely together. The color drained from her face. You... What? Is that a problem? No, of course not. I just didn't expect... Great, I hugged her. One big happy family, right? That night, I heard her crying in the bathroom, phone clutched to her chest. Through the door came Leon's voice. Just one more day and we're in the clear. Nothing can go wrong. I smiled, touching the sealed envelope from the fertility clinic in my pocket. Tomorrow would change everything. In Ella's room, the new hidden cameras were recording perfectly. Soon, they'd capture the moment when perfect lies met perfect truth. And I had front row seats to the show. The morning before the party, I sat in my home office finalizing the slideshow. The real father, the real fool. 10 minutes that would destroy 2 marriages. Robert watched over my shoulder as I arranged the footage. You sure about this? Watch this part, I said, clicking play. The screen showed Freya and Leon in the hotel parking lot. Audio crisp and clear. Frank's such an idiot. He actually thinks she's his? Jesus, Robert muttered. That's brutal. Keep watching. Next came the bank statements, showing Leon draining Violet's IVF fund. Then screenshots of their messages, photos of secret meetings, and finally, the DNA results. What's in the fertility clinic envelope? Robert nodded toward my desk. Haven't opened it. Saving it for after. My phone buzzed. Jasmine, please don't do this. Think about Ella. I deleted the message without responding. Freya called next. Hey, about the party. Maybe we should keep it small. Too late. Everyone's confirmed. Even Leon's wife is excited. Silence on her end. Then, barely audible. What did you say? Violet, Leon's wife. She's looking forward to it. Says she has something special planned. The phone clicked dead. Within minutes, Leon called. I put him on speaker. Frank, hey buddy, listen, about tomorrow. Can't wait to see you there, I cut in. Violet mentioned you've been working extra hours to afford a nice gift. So thoughtful. Violet, you've been talking to... See you tomorrow, Leon. The rest of the day was a blur of preparation. Setting up speakers, hiding cameras, positioning the projector just right. Each detail had to be perfect. At dinner, Freya barely touched her food. You've changed, she said suddenly. How so? You're different, more confident. It's unsettling. I reached across the table, took her hand. People change when they learn the truth. She pulled away like my touch burned. What's that supposed to mean? You'll see tomorrow. Later, I found her frantically texting in Ella's room. Everything okay? I asked from the doorway. She jumped, nearly dropping her phone. Just checking party details? With Leon? Her head snapped up. What? The catering. Didn't he offer to help coordinate? Right. Yes, the catering. I walked over, kissed Ella's forehead. Sweet dreams, princess. Tomorrow's your big day. In bed that night, Freya lay rigid beside me, pretending to sleep. Her phone kept lighting up with messages. Leon. We need to leave town, Freya. He knows something. Leon. Impossible. Just stay calm, Freya. I'm scared I closed my eyes, remembering the first time I'd held Ella. The joy, the love, the pride. All built on lies. At midnight, I slipped out of bed and went to my office. The fertility clinic envelope sat unopened, taunting me. Part of me wanted to read it now, but timing was everything. My phone lit up. A message from Violet. Everything ready on my end. The divorce papers are filed. Then Robert. PI confirmed Leon took out a huge loan yesterday. Looks like he's planning to run. Finally, Jasmine. I'm sorry, Frank. I should have told you sooner. I started my laptop one last time, reviewing the slideshow. Each click brought another damning piece of evidence. Their laughter, their lies, their betrayal, all perfectly preserved. Tomorrow, everyone would know the truth, and I'd make sure they never forgot it. I touched the envelope one last time before locking it in my desk. Whatever secrets it held could wait until after the show. First, I had a birthday party to host. The backyard looked perfect. Balloons swayed in the breeze, tables decorated with fresh flowers, and the projection screen stood innocently against the fence. Guests filtered in, cooing over Ella in her birthday dress. Freya kept glancing at her phone. Maybe we should start without Leon and Violet. They just pulled up, I said, watching her face pale. Leon entered first, Violet close behind. He looked confident until he saw her heading straight for his boss, Mr. Patterson. Beautiful party, Violet said loudly. Almost as beautiful as that IVF clinic we could have afforded. Leon's swagger vanished. Time for my speech. I clinked my glass, drawing everyone's attention. Thank you all for coming to celebrate our precious Ella's first birthday. I smiled at the crowd. Before we cut the cake, I've prepared a little presentation about family, truth, and consequences. Freya grabbed my arm. Frank, please. Honey, you should sit down. You'll want to see this. The projector hummed to life. Baby photos appeared first. Ella's birth, her first smile, her first steps. Freya relaxed slightly. Then the screen changed. Text messages filled the screen, dated 2 years ago. Leon, miss you already, Freya. Last night was amazing. Frank suspects nothing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Freya stood up, but Violet blocked her path. Next came the hotel footage. Leon and Freya kissing in the parking lot, laughing about their deception. The audio crystal clear. He actually thinks she's his. Turn it off, Leon shouted, starting forward. Robert and 2 other friends stepped in his way. Bank statements appeared next. The IVF fund transfers. The hotel charges. The necklace purchase. Violet's voice cut through the chaos. That's where our baby money went. I can explain. Leon turned to his boss. This isn't what it looks like. The final slide appeared. DNA results. 0.00% probability of paternity. Silence fell. Congratulations, Leon, I said calmly. You're the father. And thanks to Violet's documentation, we've already filed for child support and contacted the IRS about those creative bank transfers. Freya collapsed into a chair, mascara running. Frank, I'm so sorry. Save it. I turned to the stunned guests. Show's over, folks. Thank you for coming. Please help yourself to cake on your way out. Leon tried to rush me, but stumbled as Violet's brother, an off-duty police officer, grabbed him. The fraud department has some questions about those diverted funds, he said, showing his badge. Jasmine ran out crying. Several guests followed, while others stood filming on their phones. How long have you known? Freya whispered. Long enough to document everything. I picked up Ella, who had slept through the chaos in her playpen. By the way, Leon, your wife's lawyer will contact you about the divorce. Turns out infidelity and financial fraud make for an interesting settlement. You planned this whole thing, Leon sputtered. You manipulative bastard. No, Violet cut in. You did this. We just exposed it. As the guests cleared out, I handed Ella to Robert and walked to my office. Time to open that fertility clinic envelope. My hands shook as I broke the seal. Inside was a single page that made my knees buckle. Successful artificial insemination confirmed. Donor: Cameron Crawford. The room spun. Neither Leon nor I was the father. Freya had played us both. I walked back outside, where Freya sat alone by the deflating balloons. There's one more thing we need to discuss, I said, holding up the clinic letter. Her eyes widened in recognition. Frank, wait. Who the hell is Cameron Crawford? Freya's face crumpled as she read the fertility clinic letter. You weren't supposed to find out. Who is he? My ex. Before you. She wiped her eyes. When we were struggling to conceive, I went behind your back. And Leon. A distraction. Something to make me feel less guilty about the artificial insemination. She laughed bitterly. I couldn't even be faithful to my own lie. Robert appeared with Ella in his arms. Frank, the police want to talk to you about Leon's fraud charges. Give me a minute. I took Ella, breathing in her baby shampoo scent. So, neither of us is her father. Cameron's in prison, Freya said quietly. Armed robbery. I used his stored sample without telling him. I wanted a baby so badly. And lying to everyone was easier than the truth? I never meant to hurt you. But you did, every day for a year. I handed her the letter. The police will need this too. Pretty sure unauthorized use of genetic material is illegal. Freya's phone buzzed, Leon's wife calling. Violet knows everything now, doesn't she? Everything except this last twist. But don't worry, she'll make sure the divorce courts hear all about it. 2 police officers approached, notebooks ready. Behind them, I could see Leon being questioned by a detective near the cake table. Mr. Wright? One officer stepped forward. We need your statement about the financial fraud. Of course. I turned to Freya. My lawyer will contact you about custody arrangements. Until then, Ella stays with me. You can't take her. She's not even yours. Neither is she yours, legally, once the clinic reports the unauthorized insemination. Better hope Cameron doesn't press charges from prison. The next hour passed in a blur of statements and evidence handovers. Leon was arrested for fraud. Freya left in tears. Guests shared videos of the exposure online, making sure everyone knew the truth. Later that night, as I packed Ella's overnight bag, Freya sent one final message. You think you've won? Wait until you see what losing really feels like. I blocked her number and called my lawyer. The custody situation is complicated, she admitted. But given the circumstances of conception and Freya's deception, we have a strong case for primary custody. And Leon? Can't claim paternity since he isn't the father. His fraud charges will keep him busy anyway. I sat in Ella's room, watching her sleep peacefully. The truth hadn't changed how much I loved her. If anything, knowing she wasn't biologically mine, or Leon's, made me more determined to protect her. My phone lit up with a text from Robert. You okay? Getting there, I replied. Thanks for having my back. Always. By the way, Violet says Leon's company fired him. The IVF fund theft was the last straw. Justice felt different than I'd imagined. Not hot like revenge, but cool and clean like morning air after a storm. Ella stirred in her crib, reaching up with tiny hands. I lifted her, humming the lullaby she loved. Just you and me now, princess, I whispered. No more lies. My laptop chimed. An email from the lawyer. Temporary custody granted. Court date set for permanent arrangement. Outside, the last party decorations swayed in the night breeze. Tomorrow, I'd clean up the remnants of this chapter of our lives. But tonight, holding my daughter, because that's what she was, biology be damned, I finally felt free. Not from pain or anger, but from lies. And that was worth everything.